The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
All right. Let's get into the All NBA teams. They came out yesterday, right, which is Tuesday for us. We're recording on Wednesday night. First, I'm going to let people know who are on the teams. All NBA first team. The guards. Steph Curry. You got nothing to say? Okay.
None.
Luka Doncic. Forwards. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Kawhi Leonard. Center. Nikola Jokic.
I have no complaints with the first team. I think that's pretty good.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I will get there after the second team. All NBA second team. Guard Dame Lillard. Guard Chris Paul. Forward LeBron James and Julius Randle. Center Joel Embiid. Damian Lillard undeniably should be All NBA first team.
But over Steph or Luka? Like, which one of them had a worse season than
Luka. Over Luka. Dame was legitimately an MVP candidate for the majority of the year, and Luka's name dropped out. How early on? Very early on. And that shows you that people in general, even the media voters in general, kind of felt that Dame's season was more MVP worthy or better than Luka's season all year long. So it makes a lot of sense to me that Dame Lillard should be All NBA first team. Steph and Dame were the only two guards besides CP3, which came in very late, that were legitimately the MVP discussion this year.
So here's my thing. I'm talking about more guys who didn't make the All-NBA team at all. And this is more particular because it has such a big impact on contracts these days. If you don't make an All-NBA team or win an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year, you have no risk, zero risk of getting a Supermax contract. And so I think the nitpicking between first and second team is a little small. I always feel more for the guys who didn't make it at all who deserve to make it.
I think both of these things are important, right? But I think it's him. Damian Lillard does not get anywhere near enough credit for how good he is.
One thing I'll say though is in the actual voting, it's kind of close. Like Luka is at 402 and Dame is at 372. So I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. I just more want to focus on the guys who didn't make it at all.
We're going to get down there. We have the third team coming up. All NBA third team, guard Kyrie Irving, guard Bradley Beal. Forwards are Paul George and Jimmy Butler. Center, Rudy Gobert. Now, okay, you want to talk about who didn't get in at all. Who is your person that you want to focus on first?
So I got a guard that is somewhat maligned and a guard who is very much maligned. It's Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving. And I think there's a pretty strong case to be made here. They are very different kind of people and players. Both Aussies, strangely enough. But here's the thing. First off, Ben Simmons shows up every week. We know he's going to be there. He's not going to take a sabbatical in the middle of the season. Yes, his offense struggled, but he still put up decent numbers. He had 14, 7, and 7. That's pretty solid. He was fantastic. He was a huge difference maker on the defensive end of the court every single night and second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I think that is the reason why I think that he should be in over Kyrie.
Okay, so I have a different guard, but my thing was that's what All NBA defense team is for. That's why I don't think Ben Simmons is a snub, because on the offensive end, I mean, what he does is great. He generates a lot of shots, helps run their offense, but he isn't prolific.
No.
So I think that's what All NBA defense is. The guard on my list is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell. I also have him replacing Kyrie Irving, though. So we are kind of in the same area.
We don't like
about
Kyrie here.
I love Kyrie, but Kyrie played with James Harden and Kevin Durant. So, of course, their team was supposed to be good. Of course, you're supposed to be the second seed in the East, if not the first. But more importantly to me is the real thing people say for Kyrie, besides the fact that he's Kyrie, is the man had a 50-40-90. So did Malcolm Brogdon that year, but we weren't like, oh, guaranteed All NBA player.
I love Kyrie's game. I don't like Kyrie the person.
I don't care. I don't mind Kyrie the person, but Donovan Mitchell was the best player on the best team in the NBA and somehow did not make an All NBA team. How? How are you the best player on the best team in the NBA and not All NBA?
I got nothing for you. I think he's a snub too.
That one actually quite bothered me. I also thought that he should actually be All NBA second team and Chris Paul should move down to third.
Well, Chris Paul was really strange because he didn't make the All-Star game but got second team All NBA. He did great things for the team. Obviously changed their kind of whole dynamic and culture, made them a winning team. I don't know that he should be All NBA. Like, great player, point guard, Hall of Famer, all that.
This is the residual effect of the late season Chris Paul MVP campaign.
That's fair. That's right. Probably right.
Yes, this is the residual effect of it. All right, the next one I had was Jayson Tatum. And it hurts me to say this as a Jimmy Butler stan, right? He was a Chicago Bull. We see red. But I honestly think Tatum was statistically more productive in most major categories than Jimmy Butler.
With arguably less help. At least looking on paper.
Like, Miami had a really rough season where, like, they lost Tyler for a bit, lost Jimmy for a bit, lost Tyler again, lost Oladipo, right? They actually had a lot of issues, but, like, he didn't lose Bam, and Jason lost Jalen. So okay. I'm with you there. But I think Tatum deserved to be All NBA as well. And I originally was thinking maybe Paul George, but Paul George's stats are actually nuts this year. Like, nuts this year. He deserves this All NBA nod.
No. The one that kind of gets me is a little bit different, and it's different because the player, and I don't know where to put him, like who gets subbed out, and it's Zion. And I think he has an argument for possibly being third team All NBA. He shot 61% from the field, which is like, yes, I know the kind of shots he takes. I see the face you're making. He was huge on this team as far as running their offense. You just made that argument in their last segment. And he is one of two All-Stars who did not make an All-NBA roster.
Can you be an All-NBA player and your team not make the playoffs? I think that's the question. I
think that should matter more for the MVP, not All-NBA. I think All-NBA is more of an individual award that looks at how did that player perform throughout the course of the season. And I think if we're just looking at that and disregard the Pelicans' record, I think the reason they were even relevant was because of Zion.
Yeah, but your individual play needs to be good enough to carry a team to be considered All NBA.
So question.
Chris Paul doesn't have the stats, the raw stats.
So question.
Yeah.
Was Rudy Gobert's play good enough to carry his team?
I think at the center position from what they asked for him.
Well, what's Zion? Is he a forward or a center?
Rudy Gobert is the center on the best team in the NBA. Zion is the center on the 21st best team in the NBA.
That's probably a little low.
Playoffs are 16. They weren't the 9th seed.
But they're in the West, seed. So maybe 18, 19? I think that's more reasonable.
Sure. Okay, sure. I'll give you 18th. It doesn't change
and
much
like I said
me.
again, I think you're weighing the team success more heavily in All NBA. I think that matters for MVP for me, but not All NBA or All Defense. Because All Defense, I'm looking at the individual player's defense for the most part.
Yeah, but if you're gonna put Ben Simmons on the list over Kyrie, that nigga Rudy Gobert won the DPOY,
which is why, again, like you said earlier, he should win the DPOY. He should be on the All NBA defense.
No,
maybe not All NBA.
You just put Ben Simmons over Kyrie.
Yes, he shows up. He does
Rudy
distribute the ball. like Kyrie does,
Rudy
and is
rebounds
much
the
better
ball,
on defense.
defends the rim, is great on defense, much better on defense than Zion. Worlds different on defense than Zion. I'm just saying, it's weird. It's weird. I just feel the Jazz don't get enough respect.
I think Zion making an All-NBA is also important for him staying in New Orleans, because if he does not...
The Supermax. Yes. Okay. That is a good argument if you want him to stay in New Orleans.
I think it's good for the league.
Oh, man. Okay. I hear you. I hear you.